All right, welcome to the Gunter City Council regular meeting. It is July 17th. It is 6:01 p.m. We are at 105 North 4th Street in the Public Safety Building. All notices have been properly posted according to Chapter 551. We do have a quorum with everyone here except place one. And we will open up with our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. Captain Cameron, would you like to lead us in the invocation?
Very good. Just ask anybody here with me. Father, we come before you today just doing our very best to be humble, Father, to be servants to you, to make decisions that are all about you. As you watch over our troops overseas, help us to make decisions in this room that support your kingdom and this wonderful city of Gunter. We pray these things in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We will start with agenda item number 1 is our consent agenda. Routine council business. If there's anything you guys need to pull out, or are we good with those?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
All right, I have Dave with the first to approve.
I'll second.
Wade with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous, the motion carries. For number 2, Mayor Alderman report, I don't have anything this time to update really that's new.
Carlos is the 6th to the 20th before we find out anything on air monitor.
So TCQ, air monitor thing with that whole sub program is still going on. We've been approved, but we're waiting to some next steps before we get that full, report from the commission. I don't have anything else, so do you guys have anything else that's? Thank you, Commissioner Wright, for joining us today. It's nice to see our commissioners.
And the candy.
And the candy.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking out for y'all.
Yeah. All right, let's move into our regular agenda. So, item number 3 is discuss act upon our acceptance of Cindy Davis Place 1. I know everybody, well, most everybody knows, and her resignation letter's in the packet. And I know Cindy's watching tonight. We're sad that we're losing her, but we get it. She's a newlywed, and they are spending their time in Oklahoma now. So she's moved there. Really, really hard for her to do this, even though she still has her home here, but they're gonna sell it and move that direction. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Or we wouldn't refuse, make her stay.
That's
That'd be very nice, right?
I just want to say thank you for your service and
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
completed the group.
I'm not gonna motion it.
I know it's kind of tough one.
Yeah.
But she knows that I'm going to pick on
She
it.
knows.
She called me yesterday on how to run the zero there, so I'll make the motion and accept it.
All right, I've got Alan with a motion to accept.
Second.
Dave with a second, on favor.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Happy trails, Cindy. Best wishes for you and your new husband. Item number 4, audit presentation will be given by Mike Brooks with Brooks Watson, CPA. Are you reading back there? Do what?
And I'm Austin.
Austin, yeah. Austin.
I
who's our
said
last one?
Mike's out of the. Actually, no, I'll put the
Yeah, just sit
Yeah.
on the ledge, it wants to bump you down.
Alright. Mike is suffering in Disney World, so we'll all say prayers.
Yeah.
Has a good time. So, alright,
I
so
feel like
I'm
you were
here.
just here, Austin.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. Who wouldn't rather be a Gunter than Orlando, right?
Right? Yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you. So anyway, so I was just with y'all 6 months ago, if you remember, doing the fiscal year 23 audit. So we were able to get this process done in a little under 6 months, which is really good time frame. Obviously, hopefully can continue that pace and keep up and get 25 done more on kind of the regular cycle within 6 months after year end. So As I always like to remind when I'm doing presentations this time of year, if I say this year, I'm referring to October 23 to September 24. If I say last year, I'm talking probably 2 years ago at this point. So just keep that in mind as I kind of roll through. I'd like to just give you all, again, like what we do with the audit. As far as our planning process, we come in, we look at different processes and procedures. Obviously, with a lot of the staff turnover that happened between fiscal year 23 to 24, there was a period of time where there wasn't a lot of staff. So there's some documentation we had to do and make sure that the processes were kept up. Obviously, things are different as of today in July of 25. So just to kind of caveat that. Come in after we do our planning, we look at our field work, pulling samples of invoices, and always like to remind, we're not looking at every single payment that comes through the city or goes out of the city. We're looking at anything that's material, so anything over certain dollar thresholds, as well as performing samples of the controls. So we may look at a small transaction just to make sure that the process is going correctly and there's no weak spots no glaring holes that we can see within processes. So. And then the last piece being concluding and giving you all the report that you'll have in front of you. So that's the last thing we do. Again, in the annual financial report, there's several different pieces to that. The opinion is the very first thing. That's our that's the part that we own, and we say professionally after doing all of our testing, this is our professional opinion on the financial statements. After that's the management's discussion analysis, which goes through kind of a little bit of year-over-year comparison, looks at revenues and expenses for the governmental funds. It looks at what are some of our asset projects that we have going on, with some of the debt that we have. So just kind of a very high-level year-over-year comparison. Then goes into the basic financials, so that's where you really get into kind of the deeper dive in the government-wide statements there, which are all presented at full accrual. Then you have your fund level statements, which are your governmental funds are modified accrual, so they're a little bit more of like a cash basis than a full accrual accounting basis. And then for y'all, it's just the solid waste is all that gets presented at like a full accrual accounting. So it's just kind of a pass through in and out. Obviously, you have the contract with the public. So then you have the notes of the financials. So you've got a little bit deeper dive on, like kind of some of the areas I mentioned: capital assets, debt, pension, OPEB, just some required disclosures that we have to put in there, statistics, those kind of things. The pension OPEB one's pretty long, so there's a lot of information that the actuaries use to come up with the liability, so we have to disclose all of that. Then the last piece being the required supplementary information. So in there you'll see some of your budget actuals, like those pension schedules, all those things that are required for us to present by the governmental standards board. So there's 4 possible outcomes with the opinion. City received an unmodified opinion, which again, I just like to emphasize it's the highest level of assurance we can give. Can't do better than unmodified. Modified or disclaimed or adverse, those are all bad. Adverse being the only one that's the city's intentionally trying to do something wrong. The others are just, there's missing information or pieces that we can't really say are materially accurate. But when we give an unmodified opinion, that means that all of the numbers in the financial statements we're saying are materially accurate in our professional opinion. So just some highlights. Again, I'd like to point out this little blue bar at the top will reference which page in the report that's coming from. So if you have to flip through these slides later and want to kind of go back and look, you can see where those are coming from. Total net position of the city ended at $7.7 million. The city's governmental funds had an ending fund balance of just under $4.9 million, which was a slight increase from $85,000 at the end of 23. So that's good to see that kind of stay steady. You don't want to see that dive in over time. The unassigned fund balance in the general fund was 2.9, almost $3 million. We'll talk about it in a few slides, but that's a really, really good number. And then the overall increase in that position was $954,000. So that 7.7 is a $954,000 increase over the prior year. Diving into governmental revenues a little bit. So obviously you can see there you got an slight increase there of $23,000 just in total governmental revenues. Property taxes were up $283,000. Where you saw some decreases were sales tax was a slight decrease there at $32,000, and then the charges for services that decreased. Part of that was we lumped in. We kind of changed the approach on the sanitation fund between the 2 years. In 23, we lumped it in with governmental because of just the pass-through nature of it. And this year, we kind of went back to some of the guidance. We're thinking, okay, this probably should still be a business type, even though there's really not the city's not trying to make money on it. It's just a pass-through. It's still, the presentation is probably more accurate being that way. So
moving forward, Austin, that may be actually better because we are looking at doing some other things with our trash RFP coming out, so.
Yeah, and that's one of those things.
It's a good switch back.
It's always good to be able to see it
Yeah.
on its own. Last year was kind of lumped in with all the general fund activities, so being able to see it, it gives you a better chance to evaluate. Okay, do we have a good contract here, or should we, kind of be putting it out for RFP, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, and then slight investment income increase, very very flat there, which obviously the market in 23-24 fairly similar, so not a big surprise there that the investment income stayed pretty flat. So then looking at the expenses for the governmental funds, a big decrease there, 601,000. There's seemed to be some costs in 23 that needed to happen, with just all the different things that happened in 22-23. So we'll go into budget here in a couple slides, but good to see a decrease there, and it means you're being able to run your city, more efficiently if you're not spending as much, right? So. Slight decrease in public safety expenses. The public works was the bigger decrease there, 202,000. A lot of that was just some planned maintenance that happened in 23 that didn't need to happen in 24, but obviously that can fluctuate every year depending on needs for anything, road projects, any kind of project.
We had just sold the water then too.
Right.
So that was October of 2022, and then we're coming into,
A full year.
and it was, I think, March before everything was transferred over.
Yeah.
And so then you had that little bitty of a window, and then it just kind of, it's
Right.
gone.
So you don't
Public
have to, have anybody going out and fixing water meters
Exactly.
or anything like you used to.
The entire department was gone.
Right, exactly. So a big decrease there, and then the general government expenses were also down as well, and that's in line with budget. I'll kind of go through that here in a slide or two. Very high level, just the governmental funds in general. I just kind of look at revenues and expenditures and see, how did they do. Obviously, I told you the 85,000 increase there in the total number. The general fund saw that 150,000 increase. The street maintenance sales tax had a slight decrease there, which depends on timing of when you're going to do projects. Sometimes those expenditures are all hit in one year. You may see the following year you've got sales tax of 100,000 and expenditures of 100,000. It just kind of depends on when you choose to do some of those projects. So a lot of that is timing, and obviously there was a planned transfer in that fund as well to help fund those projects.
Well, and part of this was our sales tax that we're paying back to the state.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
2 million started here.
that's a fairly hefty.
That was a big hit.
Yeah, that's in the report. That's one of the footnotes in there. It goes through that whole schedule. So, and then the last piece I wanted to hit on here was just that budget. Budget to actual in the general fund. Because really that's your general operations. You want to make sure you're hitting there, and revenues came in slightly over there at 92,000, which is great. You got a positive variance there. You got a positive variance in expenditures where you're under by 5,700. And then other financing source uses, you see the positive variance there because that planned transfer didn't happen. So you've got a total. If you look at the final budget column, you were planning to have a surplus of 22,000, you ended up with a surplus of 150,000. So that's obviously a good thing. And you can see the change in beginning fund balance there. So, we've got our other reports there for you. That's the required letters that we have to give to the council. If you have any questions on anything there or the actual report itself, definitely let me know. I've got a copy here so I can look through anything and talk through whatever. But otherwise, my email is just ahenderson@brookswatson.cpa. So if you've got questions, definitely hit me up anytime of year.
So you sent council the full letters, did you, right?
Yes.
Everything that Austin gave us, okay, because you guys have all that, which you should. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Make sure
I'm
they have
just,
that.
if
They
y'all
know
have
what
any
we're
questions, if
talking
not,
about.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I think the only big change, if you look at year over year, at the financial statements, obviously that change in sanitation to be in that enterprise column, but also with the Mustang receivable, we were looking at that, and the way that the receivable schedule was set up, you're not going to get that much each year, right? So we looked at, okay, historically we've gotten a couple years worth now of new tap fees or whatever it's paying, flat fees, I can't remember. But whatever the fees were that they're paying, we just took kind of that average. I think we averaged it about 13,000, and we just show on the schedule now about 13,000 each year, and then at the 10-year mark, boom, the rest of it
Then the rest of it,
whenever
yeah.
it comes due. So
It's
that's
important.
that. Last year we showed it as equal payments each year,
Mhm.
but as we all know, that's not,
It's not gonna happen.
So
This is more of an accrual.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's more of a, it's more realistic. I mean, I think if you look at the 23 report, you would expect, oh, we're going to get 240,000 next year from Mustang, and that's not the case, right? So.
Saturday, we can do it again.
We did good on our budget though.
Yeah.
So that was a hard year. This was 23, 24. You know, this started October 1st of 2023.
Right.
Everything went crazy in December, and we had to work under emergency management for 5 months. So
Yeah, and I was going to point out, like, we had probably some more those just kind of control type of findings in this
Right.
year versus last year, which is
that were
like, you know, if you're thinking, why is that happening? We're just staffed up now. Honestly, it's because it was
Yeah.
the year that we're looking at. There was
Right.
some staffing issues and just, you know, not enough people to have kind of proper controls in place for some of these things that slipped through the cracks. But, you know, I'm happy to report that what we're looking at now seems to be, obviously, all those holes have been plugged and the city's, you know, chugging along. So,
It's good to have a little breathing room.
in our first year together as council will be our next audit. And that'll be, you know, a big difference from this. We already did really good here because of what we did for 10 months of the year.
Yeah.
10 months of the year.
Stop the bleeding.
Yeah, we did really good. We cleaned it up. This was our first budget where all the department heads went back, and then last year we did all that. And without raising taxes, we kept no new revenue rate. So, yeah, it was hard work this year, but this is a good thing.
yeah, for sure.
No other questions? I wrote a couple down, but then we talked about it and you answered them, so I'm good.
Okay.
I think this has more to do with, not necessarily, we didn't raise taxes, but we didn't capture as much revenue, but
True,
we
yeah.
more than enough reduced costs, and that is hard.
That was the biggest change, yeah. We knew we had to go really, really tight, so we did.
And we still do, we should operate like that every year.
Well, we need to, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But now we can actually plan for growth, which is nice, because it's coming, and we have to do things to get, you know, like, our department ready, so. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Austin.
Thank
no problem.
you, Austin.
Yeah, appreciate it. Like I said, available all year long. So
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Do I have any agenda comments on anything, any of the items tonight that anybody signing?
I was busy doing something else.
Speak up when you have questions on an agenda item, so.
Deidre, is the budget gonna be bound in this rich mahogany leather
No.
My apologies. Do what?
Saturday for the workshop, or we gonna have the budget in a bound?
No, she said, bring your computer.
I said,
Yeah.
bring your
Going
computer.
paperless.
Yeah, it's too much to print out.
Kidding.
It's so much.
Did you hear the sound?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Okay, very good. All right. So, we just completed then our audit presentation. If it's okay with you guys, we have our engineer here. Is that okay with you, Jenny? If we pull you in, because otherwise we go through all these public hearings. And, I would like for us to just bump you up. Is that okay? Okay, you have to say it again because I didn't get to hear it, but I think
She
it
says
was
she
sound
likes,
better than you.
yes.
Okay, hold on.
Yes.
Under 4, y'all need to go back and approve the
Oh, we just approved it.
Yep.
No, you're kind of skipping around.
Please, still on vacation. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the audit for 2023-2024?
I'll make the motion to approve.
All right, so I've got Wade with the first, William with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that's unanimous. Okay, so now we'll pop into number 11, we're gonna bring it up. And we're gonna have Jenny kind of tell us and present, she's our engineer, and present what we're doing here with the scope of the study and, you know, all those
Sure.
things. So we'll let you start.
And I don't have a formal presentation.
Yeah.
This is more just sort of get up and talk. So we have been the city engineer or city review engineer for, probably 8 or 9, maybe even close to 10 years now. And over the course of those 10 years, of course, have become quite familiar with the areas that are troublesome in the city, as well as just kind of what's going on with development and whatnot. And so the woods has been an area of interest, shall we say, for quite a while, through different routes and things that have been going on. And so we had put together initially a proposal to study the woods itself a few years ago, and then of course that kind of got put on hold through the different things going on. There we go.
Transition.
And I apologize. I was sick a few weeks ago. I'm fine, but still have a lingering cough, so I apologize for the cough. And so that did get put on hold. Now that has been settled, we are back with actually it's a slightly more robust drainage study proposal for not just the woods, but encountering all of the upstream area as well. The map that's provided, I wasn't anticipating everybody getting a copy of, so sorry. It's very preliminary, very partial, because we have not actually begun the study yet, of course. This is just based off of some LiDAR contours and basic basin analysis with some sub-basins broken out as far as where things are hitting the creek within the woods. So what the study is proposing is looking at, we're phasing it basically in kind of 3 phases, and this study is the first 2. And so the first is looking at existing conditions and figuring out where the problems are, how bad they are, what's happening. So using H&H hydrology and hydraulics modeling software and this LiDAR, as well as on-the-ground survey information, which is included in the proposal, getting survey data and plugging all of that into the stormwater modeling and getting a really good idea of exactly what is happening in the subdivision, where the problems are, where the choke points are, all of those items, identifying those. And then phase 2 is looking at options that might be where our kind of best bang for our buck areas of what can we fix and get the most bang for our buck out of addressing those particular items. So phase 3 will be the actual design of what those fixes may be, not included in this proposal. This is phase 1 and 2, which is just figuring out what the problems are and identifying possible fixes. So that's what I've got.
This is awesome. So, and we have Billy Stewart here with us. He didn't sign up to talk, but hopefully he'll be able to add. He knows more about this than I do. But.
So, and to tack onto that, I am aware that there are some concerns about the event center having perhaps caused a few problems with some of their developments that they did, a rather staggered development process. I did personally review those plans and approve those plans. So we will, I was just talking to Tisha, we'll go back and look through, make sure that the records match what actually got built, because that may be some of the problem if there was something that happened actually on the ground in the field that was not approved, and perhaps that's causing some of those issues.
Yeah, so Billy literally lives right next to
Right,
it.
yes.
So you saw it all get built, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to come up and speak for just a minute, Billy, and just kind of explain? And that may help Jenny give us more answers too. Absolutely.
So,
Name and address for the record, just real quick.
Billy Stewart, 102 Whispering Woods. There's a couple things that I noticed. One is if you could see historical FEMA maps, that entire property was a floodplain. And what they did was they brought a bunch of truckloads of dirt and they raised most of that property out of the floodplain. While they were doing that, I had a conversation with Shannon Slattery, who was the project manager of that at the time. And she didn't really care for the conversation that we had because I wanted to make sure that they took all of our water calculations. When I say ours, because I'm at the bottom of the hill.
Absolutely.
And so she didn't like that. So she sort of stormed off, and Bob Weiss and I had a conversation about it after. And so what they did was they lifted out of a floodplain, and then they put a berm with some trees there that was supposed to be a noise barrier, which now you could stand there and you could physically see up the hill. And all the water comes down and it stops, hits that trench, if you will. And then it used to go to the back and then go around for the most part. It wasn't perfect or ideal by any means, but it was sort of working. If you go back historically in Google Maps on Street View, you could actually see an elevation difference between my property and their property, to where mine was higher than theirs, and now theirs is higher than mine. And so as it diverts the water to the back, it would actually make a turn and then go to 289, which went into that flood that goes under. And they stopped taking care of that back water easement, we'll call it. And ever since then, I have videos of my kids riding rafts in my backyard, which wasn't really a big deal until it flooded my septic system for the second time. And it's starting to get a little expensive now. And so also across the street, there's been some studies done that talk about how dirt with plants will absorb more water than dirt alone. And so what they did was they actually paved half of that property. And in the process, that also has allowed it to shred water faster than it should going down. And then if you are ever in some type of a larger rainstorm and try to get into our neighborhood, you can't even find the entrance. The stop sign there, I think there was probably 2-3 feet sticking out of the water at one point. That's from the top. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they raised the floodplain, and then it's no longer vegetation to absorb the water. And then they added the parking lots on both sides, which sheds water as well, and then didn't maintain it, and then added the berm. So I think that's affecting us all, actually.
Well, and it wasn't occurring prior to it being there.
Yeah.
So part of the scope, right, Jenny?
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
thank you, Billy.
So yes, the original plans, actually, I have not looked at them because I don't have access to them, but Dietrich is going to get those for me. I do remember that they did raise the building out of the floodplain. They also lowered the parking lot. The parking lot actually is intentionally in the floodplain, and they dug it out and lowered it to account for that difference. And so whether it got built that way or not, the plans, I like to think, I approved were correct and followed all standard engineering practice. The other items that perhaps got handled later that weren't reviewed and approved may be the issue. But we will look at it all as part of the overall study, what's happening, the difference between, we'll get surveyed, we'll have grade changes and whatnot, and where is water flowing and what's impeding it.
On that, like, we might have the same problem with the meadows doing the exact same thing up there, because like Billy said, it wasn't like that, wasn't really an issue before they came in. And now we're even seeing it even worse with the meadows coming in, their culvert coming right out into the creek.
Mm-hmm.
So just throwing that out there, we can see the same
Another
thing.
part of the scope.
Another part of the scope.
They are, as you can see in the map, the 90% of the meadows is part of that basin.
Yeah.
And so, yes.
There's
And that's
times that I've been out there and I've taken pictures of the water coming out of their catchment, and it's a nice little flowing creek up east of it, and then it's a raging river down there. It goes past my house, Billy, some other people that are here in their house, and then when it gets down to that with just the event center water, I mean, I think we've seen that creek overflow and almost hit the pool that's down there at the meadows too, or sorry, at the woods. So that also adds to Billy's problem as well, to where just them
comes out, because it's basically a lake, it's in a river and a creek.
I do have a question, Judy. I
Yes.
think we talked about this, but homeowner feedback, where the hot spots, that's part of the study,
It
right?
is, yes, it is.
Okay,
yeah.
so they're gonna be asking you guys.
Exactly,
Live in
yeah.
the woods.
And that was one, thank you for
Yes,
bringing this up
yes.
to 11, because I have to leave early, but that's why the other thing is I wanted to also ask for the
Yeah.
neighbors at the
Yeah.
woods, to where if we need to,
Yeah.
we can get the neighbors that are not here
Mhm.
or here to meet
Right.
at the clubhouse.
Absolutely, yep.
Show photos, help you guys out with data, because I wrote down like the same phase
Yeah.
one, existing conditions, the software that you're looking at.
Community feedback is a big piece
Yeah.
of it, so that way, because, you know, the models are great, but seeing, you know, exact pictures and, you know, knowing where water levels were and whatnot.
Because things have changed from that model, unless someone's literally walking around out there with the
Yeah.
GPS thing.
No, but that's what we're
We do
doing,
That's
yes,
what they're
yeah.
going to
That's
do.
what- yeah.
model with that.
It's
Yeah.
a brand new model, it's
Okay.
not an
So it's not
existing
like
model.
using last data, because things have changed.
Yep.
So
Could we, set something up, Deidre, don't get mad. But could we set something up for citizens
workshop?
to send their photos and videos via email to like an email box? Would that be helpful? Hopefully we don't have another big rain between now and October.
Right. So that was my question. How are you
We
doing
have
that?
not yet developed that
Okay.
piece yet.
Okay.
We're at the
I just
proposal
know
stage
it's
at
part
the
of
moment.
the
Yes,
scope.
exactly.
And we're gonna talk about
Yeah,
how if we
yeah.
can best do that, so we can take that in consideration doing that too, because we're also gonna try scheduling, having a meeting at your guys' HOA.
With
clubhouse.
we've got Outlook, so with Outlook, we can create flood pictures in Gunter.com. And use that as an email for folks to send stuff, just so we can capture it. And then Eric will be responsible for all of it,
Yeah,
and you won't have to do anything.
just get the domain, we'll take it from there, whatever you call it.
I mean, I know we're gonna schedule something with the homeowners in the woods and make sure that everybody understands they can submit or, you know, because that's part of the plan. We talked about doing that. It's just, I don't know how, you guys haven't told us how you want us to do it yet.
Exactly.
What works for you?
Yeah.
And we need, you know, that's.
And we can use the woods as a template and do that for the other neighborhoods as well, or when we get into
Yeah.
the downtown area as well.
We've already got the downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
so
got
Scheduled out, so we got a
Yeah.
meeting today, our kickoff meeting.
even the bridges, if we go into the bridges, great, you
Yeah.
meet at the clubhouse with the
Yeah.
homeowners that are
Exactly.
right there in the affected areas.
So very similarly to the meeting they had today for the downtown drainage study, we'll do a kickoff and cover all of this.
Yeah, 'cause there's a lot of neighbors that have got photos of it.
Sure,
Oh, yeah.
We can show you as much as we can to help out.
absolutely.
And even walk the neighborhood with them and let them know, so.
And so, yeah, some of it is, you know, we are aware that the neighborhood is a couple decades old at this point, and, you know, ditches fill in due to lack of maintenance and all of those items. So we're looking at it all as a comprehensive, you know, what are the issues and how can we fix them?
Well, the bonus part is with the meadows coming in my personal creek that's going between mine and Holloway's, or Billy's house, it's about 3 feet deeper than what I put there.
Yeah.
So it's getting deeper, but I'm also losing 3 feet of property.
Yes.
Keeping it, so it's getting deeper, but yes, I think it's just maybe
Well, it's getting
maintenance.
deeper on that end, but it's getting full of sediment.
Mm-hmm.
On the
By
other
the
side.
pool,
Yeah,
you used to be able to see rocks when you looked in the creek, and it's dirt now.
I think it's because you got all the rushing water coming down, and it's just settling right
Yeah.
there.
Dragging everything
In
to
that
it.
center, Billy's.
All of the water that comes out of your neighborhood comes into my backyard. I've already lost 20 feet of my property.
Exactly. So,
We still have your property, it's just not quite as useful as it was before.
Yeah.
I had to put a fence at a 45 because I knew the rest of it was gonna go eventually.
Yes, absolutely, sure.
I think it helps a lot.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Questions?
This is a lot of money for a study to
Yes.
figure out why it's flooding. That's the goal. It doesn't actually say what the goal is on here.
Sure. Sorry, I thought they'd been provided with
It's
the
got a lot of
proposal. I
work that it's gonna
apologize.
do, but it doesn't
So,
actually say
yes.
what we're trying to accomplish.
So it is identify where it's flooding, why it's
Well, I
flooding.
think we know where it's flooding. I think the question is why it's flooding, right?
Yeah, but the question is what is causing we know that there's a backup here, there's a backup here. at that point,
Yeah, I got
Where-
it.
Oh, you do?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we were just wondering about
sure.
it's a lot of money
So
just to
it
say.
is-
$95,000 to figure out why it's flooding.
Yes,
It's flooding
so,
'cause it
but
rained.
it's also
So the question is, where's the water coming from? We don't have any idea where the water's not even a suspicion.
well, that's what the drainage area map is for. That's the partial preliminary drainage area map. Is that's all of the water from that area is what's going into that creek.
Okay, well,
And-
maybe this is a stupid question.
No, yeah.
We're gonna spend 95 grand to figure out where the water's coming from. Then what? How much is it gonna cost to fix it?
Well, that's what. So the 95 is
If it costs you
phase.
95 to figure it out,
Yes.
what's it gonna cost you to fix it?
So the 95 is phase 1 and 2, which is figuring out what the problem is and then what our options are for fixing. And then phase 3 is the actual effects.
Where we'll find out
So-
how much it's gonna.
Yeah.
Another stupid
Nope.
question, but
There's no. Yep.
listen, the water falls out of the sky and it was falling there before.
Mhm.
And now there's people building around and the flooding's starting, so it's pretty obvious where the water's coming from. If it's not coming from the woods, it's coming from some other property, then what do? You can't go on their property and change things.
No.
What
But we,
happens if you do all this, we spend $95,000 and the answer is, you're screwed and can't do anything?
hopefully that's not the answer, but we've got to figure out what.
Well,
What our
I'm
options
asking
are
is,
for
we're gonna
fixing.
spend a lot of money, do you even have a feeling for where it's coming from or how it's gonna work out?
Or how it's increased.
I don't wanna spend $95,000 and the answer is you can't do nothing.
So yes, it is. It's water that was already falling. The problem is the over the last 20, 30 years, right? That the problem has increased, and now with additional development, even though there is no adverse impacts to your neighbors or adjacent downstream, anything like that. So therefore, it should not be
Well,
Going
I've seen
forward.
plenty of those. Don't put a lot of-
yes.
don't put a lot
And
of-
so, but it's just like I said, ditches have filled in. There's been lack of maintenance. All of these items, culverts are collapsing, even the under the road culverts, the driveway culverts, all of those items, they're kind of working all in tandem and together and creating this issue. So we're trying to identify not just where's the water coming from, but what's happening when it's hitting these things, these points, and running this model, seeing what those options are, and then with the model, it's okay, if we fix this, what do we think will happen? Run that iteration. Okay, does it create another problem downstream? And so we
So
continue
we're running
following that
scenarios,
through.
because I mean, like I said, right now even, you guys have the creek in the back of your side, but coming from the north side down, I've got the creek coming
Mhm.
from east to west
Mhm.
and from south to north
Mhm.
on mine. Carl, you guys have DG's property coming in, Billy's got down, I mean,
Yep.
that's why he's asking that, I
Absolutely,
agree,
sure,
because $95,000, you can just walk into the woods right now for free and knock on our doors and
Yeah.
we'll all tell you, this is where, this is
Exactly,
why,
yes.
this and that, or yes,
Yeah.
we need to dig this culvert, like we've talked about before, down there by, there was Adele's property, we just need to, great, just dig her little ditch a little
Which
bit deeper for it, but then
Sounds
that
easy,
I was gonna
exactly.
say that, it sounds easy, but it is engineering.
Yeah.
Because everything you touch happens, it does something else to something
Yes.
else.
Exactly.
I agree with
And
that.
yes.
that's why,
And that's why I
If
like
we're
that
able,
part.
from a technology standpoint, to run models to see, okay, we do this, what happens, and we don't have to put a shovel in the ground to do that. Which, if you don't do that and you start messing with stuff, it's gonna cost you
you make
more
it
than
worse.
Yeah.
$90,000. I mean, you've gotta have something that's legit
With a
and
plan.
with,
There has to
and
be a
stamped,
Yeah.
saying, hey, we've done this study and here's what we have to
Don't get
do.
me wrong, I'm not saying we should do the engineering, I'm just saying it's a lot of engineering, even if you figure that's $400 an hour, that's 6 weeks of 40 hours a week engineer working on this. How long does it take you to figure out that there's a problem and what to do?
So it also
Because that's all it's gonna do,
Sure.
it's not gonna actually be the fix, it's just gonna figure out that there's a problem and it needs
Exactly.
a fix. And here's
So-
some ideas about what you could do to fix it.
And here's the
And then how
cost
much
for
does
it.
it cost
Sure.
to design the engineering to actually fix it?
Sure.
And then what's it cost to build it? I mean, when we're all done, we're looking at $500,000.
could be depending on what the fix is.
So,
I honestly could not tell you at this
But
point
your
because I'm not.
schematics, your CAD drawings, all that stuff in this engineering part, it'll let us know like, okay, yes, if we take in between you and your neighbors just south of you, I forget his name? He was at the BNSF thing years ago. But like, say if you guys were to dig in between.
Oh, Brian?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brian, there you go, Ward. If you guys were to dig in between, then okay, well, that's gonna now throw more water
Right.
over here, so we can't really do it that way, so okay, we gotta find another way. That's what
It's
you're
looking at it from the
engineering will-
comprehensive point of view, as far, instead of just, I think we can dig out this culvert and cause that problem, but it ends up, you know,
Or make their
we
creek
back, exactly.
wider, well, that's good,
Right.
but it'll throw more water into the small.
And the 95 is a not to exceed number, it's an hourly time and
Oh,
materials.
My next question.
Yes.
Let's say you figure it out halfway through and you know what the answer is.
Then that's all you get
Stop.
charged for.
Okay.
Yes.
And Jenny and I have had these conversations before with Eric and Candace, all on these calls. They're gonna be very creative and really think outside of the box with what we can do. Because, I mean, you don't wanna just go in and, here's what you gotta do, and like, it's $500,000. Well, what if you could do these things first?
Yeah.
And then that
And it'll
corrects
decrease
it.
it'll decrease the
We live in the
bottom line,
country,
but-
it rains out here and things get wet. And we build stuff with hard surfaces
terrain
and the rain
changes.
doesn't have anywhere to go. The
Right.
solution is a storm system.
Yes.
And nobody's willing to talk about that, and I just wanna get that on the table. If we really wanna fix this problem, it's a storm system.
Well, the
Yeah, so
solution
like
is
you said, there's
detention.
more
Yes.
people that are coming in, like
Yeah.
we're dealing with the Meadows. They came in and they just added how many thousands of gallons extra into that creek
Well, I
per
mean,
torrential rainstorm that we've
Well,
never
we're looking
had
at that
before.
too, to make sure that that pond is actually doing its
Again,
job
because
and
they're-
functioning as it was designed to
Their
function.
design met all requirements of
Right.
not increasing flow
Right.
to that creek.
yeah, but like I said,
They designed it.
I've seen.
But you have to go then and look and make sure it was actually, you know.
And is it still
inspected, and
functioning?
It is
Yeah.
functioning the way it was supposed to.
Well, the one thing I'm not is an engineer, so I'd love to
Sure.
talk with you about that.
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
It's increased it by 30 feet wide. So, yeah.
We can probably pull weight in on this project, I think, Eric, and that way, we're not worried about Tom or anything, but we can pull you in when we have our calls.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
please do, because
With Candace and everybody on the
I
same
know it's
thing.
only affecting some of my side, but it also goes down.
We're looking at the whole
past
neighborhood.
Billy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the south side of the creek that goes through, but I mean, even the Fridays up there, I don't know if they get flooded or anything, or, so.
Just to
Wait,
veer off, just ever so slightly, Courtney, close your ears.
No.
Are we, everything in Palmer Lakes is gonna, or whatever it's called now,
Taylor Ranch.
It's all gonna have a storm system.
Taylor Ranch, Platinum Ranch, they all have,
No bar ditches anywhere in the city after this.
no.
No,
As
those
far
are-
as for
that's
on
great.
the edge of streets and stuff, it's an underground stormwater system, just like
Right,
phase
right.
2A by you in the bridges.
But you're
is
not
all
getting that
underground.
on these communities that have like 1 acre and above.
The estate lots.
You're not getting that on the estate lots. So we're
But
talking
the state
about
lots have to deal with drainage
They-
as well.
Well, maybe we
Yeah.
can
So back
start
to this.
talking about
But
ordinances
here's what I can do.
that.
There's always a sign.
We gotta stick to drainage
Well, I don't
in the
wanna,
woods.
it is related, so I don't wanna do this conversation in 10 years when more neighborhoods come in and.
I know.
you
Put it on your next agenda.
No.
That's fine with me, but put it on your next agenda to talk
Yes,
about.
yes.
So we,
But
on
this is,
the next agenda, we need to talk about storm systems being a requirement for
this is
any
part of what we're
development.
doing with overall all drainage, not just the woods, but the entire
telling you.
scope of what we're doing.
This is all over the county, and it ain't gonna get fixed until you put a storm system in. There is no fix, there's no magic.
So the
I'm waiting
current
for you guys to
engineering
get
design
that.
standards
If you're gonna come
actually
up with it, but
do call for that.
I'll sit in the manual.
Yeah,
and Spend that half an evening reading
So,
it.
Will you do this, Eric? and
with
go
the
ahead and start
exception of the
adding
estate
weight
lots.
to those?
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah.
Wade as
Our
our
meetings.
citizen
Yeah.
liaison, just like we're using
Perfect.
Dawn
Awesome.
on the downtown.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then it's
Exactly.
nice to know that you did clarify it's up to, not to exceed
Yeah, not-
Yes.
95,000.
and that's
So-
our,
So if we find out in phase 1A or 1B, or just find out in phase 1A.
1A looks pretty exploratory, so
then
Yes.
There you go.
it's like the real answers start coming in 1B.
The
yes.
meat and potatoes. Can we start with phase 1?
And so
Start with 1B.
so part of 1A also, and the reason there is a decent chunk of money in there is it's not just the modeling, it's the field visits that we have survey teams actually going out, shooting all those culverts, getting flow lines for the exact modeling to figure out exactly what, so that way when we say, okay, can we make it a bigger culvert? Can we drop one end half a foot or tweak this 2 inches, whatever? We have the exact data, we're not guessing.
And if you put me into that, I would love to know when they do that,
Yeah.
so then I can even reach out to some of the neighbors and say, hey, we're gonna be in this area. You know, they're on our
Yes.
side, just show them or talk to
We'll be
them.
doing door hangers and whatnot because there are some, obviously, because of the way that the drainage is set up within the woods. Some of it's in backyards, some of it's in front yards, some of it's in side yards.
Yeah.
So there will be notification of when we will be out there, and you're not going to have some random man in a bright orange vest in your yard. Yes, our surveyors have seen a lot, but we like to prepare
Be
them.
there as part
Yeah,
of, you know,
yeah, like I said,
understanding
let
it.
me know, I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah,
I'm
and
not
that'll-
getting part of the pay for this, but I'll come out there and do it, walk
So,
right
Yeah,
alongside
just
you.
add him to the working group for that one.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And then you can add William to the bridges when we do that.
I don't have to, it doesn't have to.
We just
They
all
just
part
gotta
of it,
have
so it's gonna be designed to plan anyway. So, any other questions for Jenny though?
Yeah.
You guys
No.
good?
Thank you.
Alright.
Thank you,
That
Bill.
helps.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do I have other comments on this agenda item? Okay, so I've got Mark and Don. So Mark, come on. Did I see another hand? Okay, so Mark.
Mark
name and
Merrill,
address.
71 Mallard Court. I only have one question. I live in the next neighborhood over on a pond that's in a FEMA floodplain. And when I went to build my house, I was told by the county engineer I could make 0 changes to the drainage flow. I couldn't bring dirt out of the pond onto my property, and I couldn't put any dirt into the pond. How are they able to change the elevation of their property if it's in a FEMA
It was approved
floodplain?
engineer.
What?
There was an engineering design approved. So if you get engineers involved, and the county has the right to say that in the county, the city has the right to say that in the city, that's what happened.
So,
You're in the county.
I
If
understand.
they say,
Right, but my question is, if the engineering was done
right,
and you can show that it isn't working per the engineering plan, why is the city paying for this? Why aren't you going to the event center and forcing them to pay
We
for
will.
it
We
to
don't know
fix
that
the
yet.
problem?
Well,
Well, that was
We
my
don't know
next,
that yet.
that's
we've
my
got to
next
identify
question.
it first.
That's part of our
Yeah,
evaluation.
that's my next
And-
question is,
and
once
it's
we
gotta
find
verify.
out, then we can go to these
Right.
neighborhoods
It's a
or
hell of a
these
retaining.
absolutely.
people and
Because,
say,
you know,
you guys
if
broke
you've
your.
got engineering, you have to build according to the engineering. And maybe it wasn't, we don't know that yet. We'll find out. So, yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Don, you wanted to speak to this one?
Don Anderson, 102 Falls Creek Lane. I live in the woods. I've also been associated with the event center after everything had been done, turned over, and the berm was already built. So I'm familiar with the property in there. I understand that they did get FEMA approval for the things that they were looking at doing for from the engineers for building up those lands on that. But over the last 25 years, the problem has been that we haven't upgraded the systems that we've got in there. With the clearance of the stuff and the building that's being done east of Pike Road, that's increased water flow. Meadows has increased water flow. And of course, with that Connell going there, that helps direct things down through further. It used to be that the culverts on Dental Creek and Whispering Winds were of a sufficient size to let the water through. It's backing up now because the water's coming too fast for those culverts. They need to be expanded, which will reduce a lot of the water flooding that we get where it's blocking over the roads and all. As far as the problem that's over in Billy Stewart's yard, you know, at the back corner, left-hand corner of his yard, they should be able to build or cut a ditch that goes all the way down along the event center side. You know, it's not going to interfere with the retention pond down there. It's still a requirement by FEMA. You know, but it would allow the water to drain in a consistent manner and rapidly from out of his yard. So that should help tremendously on that.
Well, the engineering study will tell us.
That's
Granted.
exactly what we're doing.
But
We're gonna be able to
those are
go into it.
recommendations that they'll be looking at and to consider.
Because on top of that, we gotta make sure we're gonna be increasing more water flow into that back by your house and then even further over
Into
into.
Preston, so I'm sure you're gonna be working with TxDOT because
We are
we
working
see
with
it go
Texas on
over
that.
Preston already.
Yes.
And BNSF's already been compromised. They don't have culverts large enough for what's coming.
And that's part of that phase 1B or phase 2.
That's gonna be
Is
1,000 acres.
figuring out how far downstream we need to look.
1,000
Waters of
acres.
America is also the one that own those culverts that are at Gentle Creek and Whispering Winds.
Maybe 40% could be this actually.
So back to the task order.
I think you should just.
From council.
Know is our, put a key on it.
Do I have a motion to accept, reject?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, so I've got Dave with a motion to accept the task order,
I'll second
and then Wade with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank you so much for explaining that to us, Jesse. Okay, so now we're gonna pop back up to our public hearing. We are on number 5, and are you presenting something first, Eric, before I open this up?
Yeah, if you'd like to.
Okay, yeah, let's do that first, and then that way if somebody wants to speak, they can, and then we'll come back to the ordinance related. So this is, well, I guess you can explain.
You can read the item if you want.
Well, the public hearing will be to hear comments based on proposed amending the zoning map of the city of Gunter of 1.15 acres from single family to commercial C1, and that is phase 2, block 3, lot 1.
Something like that. I'll put it up there. It's in the ordinance.
I
But
hate not having the actual location. Like, I mean, I know that's the legal one, but I'd like to be able to
I
say.
think we have an address on there. Did we not put the
where that is.
address on there for you?
I thought there was,
Just
but now I'm not
at the
so
corner
sure.
of Autry and
It's on the corner of
Autry
Autry and 289.
And 289, right.
So right here, site location.
Yes.
Is it
Okay.
all of that, or just the part that's off, just ever so slightly?
If I could present the case, I'll make it real
And I
clear for
think
you.
it's the bank signs in
Well,
there,
Eric,
so.
yeah, you can answer all my questions before I ask them.
Well, that's the
You might be able to
intent.
do that.
So this is a site location, labeled site location. And actually, the zoning change is only on the back half of that dark rectangle that you see, which is this. Right now, currently, you've seen out there that the temporary modular building for the Texas Bank is going in right now. They plan on building on the front, and I'll show you the overall site plan in a little while. But as we're going through, as you all might be aware, we're creating a new ArcGIS zoning map for online, and to go through a lot of that, we're starting to find some discrepancies and anomalies and just things on it. This appears to be one of those areas where back, I think it was 2002, the city did a lot of strip zoning along 289. So I'll show you the zoning map here in a second. But the area in question, the front part that you see, where on the intersection of the corner is already zoned C1 with the Thor overlay, and the back part remains C1. So whenever they went in and did the strip zoning, they kind of just took around 250 feet from the right-of-way line and just kind of did the zoning as opposed to looking and seeing where track lines were or lot lines, because this has been platted already. There's the overall site plan. You can see the modular building darker going in the smaller area to the left, and then eventually in a year or two they'll build the main structure on the front. But this is the zoning map. You can kind of see that blue rectangle that I drew. The front portion is already C1. The back portion is R1, a little under an acre. It's never going to go single family residential. There's not enough room there to do anything. And you can see in the other parts of the map where that darker green is the same zoning, C1, and it backs up to R1, future R1 stuff on both sides of the road. In fact, if you go a little bit further to the south where the cabinet place is and some strip center stuff, that's actually C2 with SF1 single family behind it. So C1 is kind of one of those transitional commercial land uses that go adjacent to single family. And of course, there's a landscape buffer and a masonry screen fence requirements and things like that that the commercial has to put in between it and the single family. This is kind of an arrow, kind of give you more perspective of what we're talking about, because there's also on this particular piece of property, there's a large drainage system or channel on that back part that's highlighted to the left. That gives even further buffer between.
Yeah, nobody's gonna build.
C1, no, they can't. I mean, they could pipe it. They might be able to pipe it potentially, but no one's going to spend that kind of money when they can develop 1 acre without doing that. So it was partially a cleanup, but they're coming in already, and we realize that, why is this one lot split with zoning? But we have several are like this, so you might see more in the future, but this is pretty much straightforward. We did get some citizen comments at P&Z that I think we addressed. Again, there is a buffer and a masonry screen fence that has to go in between the single family and the C1 commercial, but it's typical to have a lighter commercial backing up to a single family.
Yeah, that fence is already in.
Good, because they're trying to wait till September because the contractor or something. I was like, No.
Can you go back to the other page that showed
the overall site plan? And understand, the site plan has I can't take any comments on it. It's straight zoning is what we're asking.
the Google Maps one?
The Google, the aerial?
Yeah, aerial zoomed in map. So they own the whole property?
They own that whole lot. That is a whole lot.
That whole lot?
Yeah, that's one single lot right now.
Okay, so they,
All the way to the street.
One lot. So
289, clear back to that red line to the
so
left
they
where
own
the single
C1
family
and then
duplexes start.
SF1
Right.
as well.
And then SF1, as you saw on the zoning map, transitions to that pink.
Mm-hmm.
It's duplex. So that's kind of a mixed zoning
Yeah.
development in there.
And the Duncans, they're doing their.
The Duncans are doing theirs just to
South.
the south on 7th Street. We'll
Yeah,
say
right where that
way.
house is right there.
No, the Duncans is actually where the duplexes are. The house is where the self-storage and office part will be
Part
going.
gonna be, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna have residential backing up to, or still a buffer in between that if we do commercial and
Yep.
their stuff, and then other people with SF1, okay.
So really, more than anything, it's a cleanup. So they're all now they could come in and replat it as long as they meet the C1 development standards, or they can keep it all as one lot and ground lease part of it. But I think realistically, the only thing that's going to happen on this property, would probably be like a garden office or something in their back once they're done with that modular building, and then the bank will go on the front. Of course, the bank's already permitted by right because that portion of the lot is C1 already.
Or they could say
New bank.
Yeah,
The new bank, the New Texas Bank, the main facility that they'll end up building.
the temporary ones right there, they're gonna put.
And I think
So,
there you are.
That's something else.
The applicants are here, so they can kind of, maybe if you're interested, I mean, it is a straight zoning change, but they can give you more of their scheduling, why they came in and want to do a modular building at first. I pressed back on it a little bit, but there's really,
And I don't want to get
really
into
something.
what's going to happen later because it's just a matter, we're going to offer the C1.
Right,
Does it
it's
make
just-
sense from a
What's
zoning
zoned
perspective?
Off to the west of the piece that they're wanting to change. What is it zoned?
To the west is the S1 going into that development off of Audrey.
Here's this
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
It's SF1, and then it transitions to TF, or two-family duplex. And then to the south is SF1 and C1.
And C1 is what you would want right next to.
Yeah, that's what you want next to residential, especially on a commercial corridor like 289.
Right,
If this was
exactly.
further into Autry or on any other smaller thoroughfare, then no, probably not.
Yeah,
it's
that's
quite a
natural
ways,
transition.
quite a
You
ways
said
from
that
the
this
house
was
because
60.
you've got that trench is
Floodplain.
Yeah.
at least 25 feet wide.
Yeah, it's actually 35 to 40 feet wide from the top of it to the top of it.
It's big.
It takes up a good portion of their property that they purchased that they can't own.
But you said it's not suitable for putting housing on it anyway. So.
Unless you do one single family house on it, but even then,
If you went back to the other design of the whole office, everything came into
Right.
half of that, a quarter of that is then left for grass.
and since it's
Well,
going to be a light commercial use, so you're not going to get a heavy commercial C1. Most C1 uses aren't going to fit on there now anyway. So while there might be a few uses, C1 considers that it is adjacent to single family. So our permitted land use set restricts the heavier type of C1 uses next to single family.
well, it makes more sense to do something useful with it now than something possibly useful with it someday, maybe. So.
I don't ever see, maybe I'm
I'd
dealing with
say
a lot of
that-
developers and nobody going to develop that as a single family residence.
Right. So C1 seems to be a more efficient use of the property.
Oh, yeah.
And realistically, again, if I was doing the zoning change and we were doing strip zoning, I would have taken a look at where are the property lines and why doesn't it go as deep? You go to the north, it's just as deep. It got narrow as you get towards downtown because you have existing dwellings and development there. But up in here, it was predominantly still kind of open except for some of the older homes and stuff along the frontage that are now legal existing non-conforming. The ones that are there have been a couple that have been demoed recently. So it's transitioning.
And it's a good place for commercial anyway, so I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'd go for it, so I'll make a motion.
So, hold on. You
Gotta have a
motion.
public
I gotta
hearing.
do a public
Yeah,
hearing.
public hearing.
So, because it's a zoning change, so I need to know, I'm gonna open up the public hearing at 7:00. If there's anybody who wants to speak on changing the zoning from single family to C1,
You guys want to talk about it?
okay?
I mean, we will.
You can introduce yourself and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
on your
absolutely.
business.
You could,
Yeah, I don't want to make this last longer than it needs to, but
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's perfect.
My name is Carrie Van Zant. I'm going to be the branch manager up here. And this is Sarah Van Hoff. She currently lives in Gunter, and she's going to be my operations manager. So he kind of went over it. We're buying the lot. We're putting the portable on the back. Hopefully, I'll put it to you this way. If you're worried about that portable being there a long time, I'm going to be in 1,200 square feet with 5 other people for 2 years. I will not let that happen. So,
Five other women.
Yes,
Let's
five
remember
other
to
women. Yep. So I don't think I'm going to let that happen. So plan is to build a nice building up front. But more than anything, we want to get into the community and help the community. That's what this bank's about. That's why I'm part of this bank. Been at bigger banks, didn't like it because it didn't have a community focus, and this bank does. And so hopefully I get to finish my whole career here and help Gunter grow into what it can be. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions after or anything y'all want to talk about.
Thank you. So do I have anybody that wants to speak to the zoning? Okay, so seeing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing at 7:01, and now we can go to the next one, which is the ordinance and whether or not to act upon changing the zoning.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the zoning change.
All right, I have Dave with the first to approve,
Second.
and Wade with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Got 4 ayes, no nays.
Yeah, so now we've got a public hearing on the specific use permit for the daycare, right?
Childcare.
What?
Daycare, childcare.
Yes. So I'll let you kind of speak to that a little bit, and then we'll open that up for the public hearing.
Yeah, so, Council, this is a specific use permit request for a business owner that's been operating in your city for about a year now and has relocated to what is now the old elementary school. The school district has converted that elementary school to basically more office use or C1 type use. The zoning on this property is again split. You can see the green there where it's C1 on the front, throw overlay, and then the back part is actually M1.
So the elementary was M1?
Half of it is, the part that's in red is in M1.
Yeah.
Half is kids.
All the trades, kids
are
are
Now,
back.
elementary schools are semi-public use and we don't necessarily control zoning on them, so I couldn't tell them, if they want to build a school there now, I couldn't tell them not to, but
Right.
we probably want to do a zoning change just to clean it up.
This is one of your life projects, is to do this.
My last project is Gunter, you know that. I'm 58 though, so I
And
didn't
then
much
plus the
longer.
property behind, across the street by the gym. That.
Across the street is C1 as well, and then it transitions to SF, which is the greener color, and then to the south
Yeah.
is C1, and then a planned development that we haven't been able to actually find is the park. So this is, Jessica's here tonight to answer any questions too, but this went to P&Z, they recommended approval, but she is leasing from the school district the main part over there on the right side, that wing of classrooms there, with various age groups from infants to soon after school care, but she can describe that more to you. She has full access to the playground. As some of you might have heard, we have a couple other tenants in there, a screen printing business and a co-op. What is it? Grayson Credit Co-op. So they went in and they've all got their COs now. There was some fire inspection stuff done on the facility, but as far as for her child care, she's added some more security features that she can kind of describe if you haven't listened to the P&Z minutes or didn't watch the P&Z. But the drop-off and pickups on the north side or the back side there where we've labeled the drop-off pickup. Of course, there's access to the front, but they've since put in a dividing kind of key access code door glass partition to that wing to cut it off a little bit more from the rest of the school that can be leased out to others. But she does have access to get through the hallway to the playground, and then also an indoor area for indoor playground during inclement weather. And so part of our zoning ordinance right now requires a specific use permit for a child care facility such as this. So that's what she's here asking for. And then Mayor, you asked a question regarding the underground storage tank. That's part of our ordinance, says that the child care should be located. We measured that, Captain Cameron and I did. It's a little over 300 feet.
Okay, good. So it's not an issue.
Yeah, so it's not an issue. And the fact that they're
mobility
I
purposes.
don't know if you actually knew about them, but they're not, since they're not being used, I don't think it meets the
Right.
intent of it, but we did measure it on, the county CAD maps, and it's around 325 feet, actually,
Okay,
so.
that's good. So I do have another question for you, because I was out of town this week, and then I'm looking through this late today. I guess, this is limiting to 24 students.
Yeah, what I would
and
like to
5
do is I'd like to
coaches?
correct the record on, the P&Z heard the case, the only condition they put on it was that it was tied to Jessica and the Little Tigers Academy. That was the only condition they passed. I didn't correct the ordinance of the staff report, so it needs to be amended.
Yeah, because this seems like it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, that would be a problem, because she already probably has way more than 24, but she can tell you what her growth plans are.
Well, and you can see the
and
growth,
such.
obviously, we want that for her, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if it says we can't, that this is the limit, we've got to
Yeah,
fix
we'll
that.
need to make the motion so that we can amend the ordinance. I apologize for not catching that, cleaning it up, but.
Well, and the ordinance is not an ordinance yet.
Yeah.
Just tell us what you want in it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we'll fix it.
So I was
Yes.
like, well, this is gonna be a problem, because we know that there's this.
It's not a problem for me, but
exceeds-
Jessica might not like it.
I don't think she's gonna wanna limit.
It would be a problem for me, because I can go in there,
24
Jessica, you got 58 kids, you're supposed to have 24, and then she beats me up, and then it is a problem for me.
Right, so that's a problem, we just have to fix this.
So just strike that, again, any conditions that were on there, we can completely strike, and then we're gonna request that the P&Z recommendation of tying it to Jessica and the Little Tigers Academy is the only condition that was put on it.
The only problem I got is, Jessica, why did you paint that color
Let's,
around?
Purple.
Was that intentional?
Is that purple or blue?
Or did he do that?
I did that because P&Z,
You're off.
P&Z Jessica had to come up and like wave her finger over the sign, over the screen and stuff, so I thought maybe I'll highlight it for those quasi hard of seeing people.
So I got a couple of questions.
Yep.
Well, hold on.
So real quick, let's do the public hearing first, because somebody may want to speak to this, and then I'll close it out, and then it'll just be council's questions. And then we can have Jessica come up and answer those questions. So let me open the public hearing at 7:07. If there's anybody who wants to speak on this permit. Okay, so seeing none, I'm gonna close the hearing at 7:07. Now we can move into discussion, because now you guys can ask questions.
Well,
You've got questions for Jessica, if you'll come
Yeah,
up. Okay.
I mean, and I love this idea. I'm glad that it's
So Jessica, could she give her name and address for the?
Oh, yeah.
Jessica Moreno, 110 Forest Meadow Drive, Gunter, Texas 75058.
And it's just a question,
Uh-huh.
so I know what you're talking about with that divider in that hall. I remember taking my kids to school there and all that stuff, and I remember the drop off. So it works.
It's
out
all
perfect.
changed.
Yeah, that inside, right?
It's all changed since you've been in the building. It literally just got finished 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So we built a glass storefront to separate the wing from the
The
public.
rest of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my question, is
Okay.
when you go to the playground or go to the indoor gym, does that mean then you have to basically go through, and I'll just kind of call it what I feel it is, the mercantile of, or the inside mall of it, you have to go through it? Does that mean, or so when you do that, are you gonna have all of the faculty or more than just one or two? I think it was adults in the last place that you were at that had to be with the kids. Are you gonna have enough adults there to make sure that they get safely from there to the playground?
Yes, so that's kind of what we went over on the planning and zoning last week. So, and we did kind of talk about that when I got back there. We had a meeting with all the teachers on safety issues. So they were utilizing the restrooms, and can I come over here and show? So the glass wall is right here, but we come down this main area to go out these doors to hit the playground, and then our indoor playground right here. So we were using these bathrooms because having 2, 3, and 4-year-olds that are newly potty trained, they are not going to have time to run all the way down here to our restrooms. They brought up a good point about safety. Say somebody comes in with the public and it's in the boys and girls restroom, and a kid goes in there and there's someone in there. So we've talked about safety measures that we can take. We are not using these restrooms anymore. When teachers come out, there's always a teacher at the front and the back to make sure no kids are lingering behind when they are turning corners. And then these bathrooms will not be used. We will be using the 2 restrooms in the cafeteria that are single-use restrooms that teachers can stand outside and let 1 child go at a time in there, and they can check before they let the child in there. Another thing is there'll either be 1 or 2 teachers at all times, and we're only letting 1 class go down at a time. So it's not going to be your whole school all going outside at one time. Playground times are staggered throughout the day. So we are taking those safety measures in place. They also have classes that we take on safety protocols, watching to, your surroundings, who's next to you, who's coming through that door. Head counts, they head count all the time. So 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on kids at all times. And then playground, nobody really has access out there. And that is chain linked, and it's a higher fence than it was at the old daycare center. So, and then we also have walkie-talkies. So every teacher does have a walkie-talkie. So we communicate that way. Should there be an issue, they call on the walkie and someone goes down. So that's another thing we put in place. And then cameras. So cameras were installed in the entire building that we use.
And then there was some discussion at P&Z too, as far as the Knox locks and then having the proper key fobs for them to get further into the
And all
building.
that's great to know, because obviously we want to make sure everything's safe. But that's not what we decide, right? We've got to look at these things. I know Courtney's over there cringing probably. Did I catch that?
Well, yes, and I'm on a time
Oh,
crunch.
that's true. She sure is. Y'all, it's her birthday today.
Whoa!
We go fast. But no, all that's
Okay.
good for us to know. It's just not what P&Z and council's making decisions on.
Is this
but I
all
love it.
compliant with the state of Texas?
Yep, they've
Of course.
approved me for 200.
Yeah, of course.
Then
So
I don't
that's
know
my
what else we gotta
question.
talk about.
Well, that's my question, because this says 24 kids in 5 classes. So I need to know what we've got to know what we're putting in these ordinances, because we are looking at our ordinance right here. These for this permit, these are the,
And that's
Well,
what the old building.
we've got to address.
And we were just talking, we'll remove all of B,
Okay.
except for that the SUP is tied to the applicant
Okay.
and Little Tiger's Capping.
Okay.
And so all of the
we
rest
need
of
to
that
address
will
this
be-
in here. We can
All
get
the
rid
rest
of
of that will be pulled out.
If
good
you
with
feel
doing
that you want to follow what P&Z's recommendation was, and that's what their recommendation was, that's the only condition was this tied to the applicant and Little
Okay.
Tigers.
Yeah, because the state monitors you. We don't have to do that.
They
It's not
do,
our
but
role.
we did ask
Yeah.
for state permits to
So,
give her her CO.
For sure,
and stuff,
absolutely.
so-
Well, to get a CO, we'd have to. But all the other things, I mean, that's, Texas does that okay. So
We'll
I think
give you
we
a-
stay out of that business.
A clean copy with B
That would be
removed.
good. Let's do that with B removed. Then I will feel better for it. If you guys are ready, so do you
Well,
have a question?
Wade says he remembers his kids going to school there, but I remember Scott Martindale going around town telling everybody we're gonna have an influx of kids, and we're gonna need a second school, we need to pass a bond, and we need 2 schools because we can't handle them. And if I'm understanding now, y'all are using this for what'd you call it, a commercial?
An indoor mall.
An indoor mall. So we paid money, a bond money, to build a second school to handle all the extra kids coming. And what y'all are telling me is, we're now using this school not for a school, but for an indoor mall, which taxpayer bond money paid for the other school
We're going
that
off
we don't
topic.
need.
This is way
We're
off
going way
topic.
off topic.
But I also heard that you said she's already in there, already in this indoor mall operating her school. So she's asking for a special use permit after the fact. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And is this not the same school that did that last time and moved in without a permit and shouldn't know
I
better
submitted
now?
everything in October.
Are you in there now operating without a permit?
I sure am.
Well,
I was told that I could operate in
without a permit, without the proper zone.
there. I have everything through the state. I'm just doing what I was told when
Yeah, but that sounds a lot like the story the first time, so.
and
I would
once
say this-
again, I did everything right. It was not me. It fell back on other people. So it was not me. I was here for the last time. I did everything I was supposed to do this time. Check with everybody else. Ask what they all got over there. I'm the only one that did everything by the book to get in that place. 100%.
And last time P&Z changed stuff on her.
Mm-hmm.
No, John Carter,
still
the
didn't have
landowner,
special
didn't tell her that she, when he leased it, that she needed a specific use permit to get her CO. This time, it's more probably on the school district.
It's
than
on the
it's
school
Jessica.
district, and we've got to build a better relationship because there's a lot of frustrations there, and that's not her fault.
Well, kind of is, but.
It is kind of in a sense that you shouldn't be somewhere without your permit.
She's given subsidized training. I mean,
Yeah.
childcare for the school teachers, so the school is doing this for the benefit of the school, but they're also running a mall that taxpayers bought.
I don't think it's a mall.
It's an office.
It's an office park on the outside.
Whatever, it's not a school that taxpayers pay.
That is
We're
way
off
off topic.
Yeah, we're off topic, so,
This is just the SUP for
yes,
this.
just the
I
SU.
gotta know what the environment is, make sure I understand before I decide on
It was
something.
an ISD school board meeting.
Yeah, well, I went to it last time, they went to executive session, and stayed there the whole time, and we didn't ever get to talk to anybody. Oh, well, I'm not keen on making this special use permit, so y'all can go on. But I don't think the school ought to be doing anything in there except being a school.
We are paying to be in there. You know that, right?
That wasn't my issue. My issue
Okay.
is
Yes,
it's
it's
a
a
school.
school.
Taxpayers paid for it to be a school. Now
There's also a lot going on right now in the school district, and so that has a lot to do with it also.
So we're gonna,
Another conversation.
do I have a motion for anything right now?
I'll make a motion to approve the SUP
With the
Okay,
condition
so-
of.
with the condition of
Removing B,
removing B
and that it's,
and that it's tied solely to Little Tigers Academy
And the applicant.
and the
and the
applicant.
applicant. So I've got Dave with the first to approve,
I'll second.
Alan with a second, all in favor, any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that's 3-1, so that motion carries, and that permit has been approved. All right, so thank you, Jessica. Let's move to, number 9, is that where we are? Yes. And this is to discuss, consider, act upon a resolution accepting PID petition for Platinum Ranch and setting the PID creation hearing for August 7th. The PID petition, I mean, this is part of the DA that we approved, and all of those PID details are in that development agreement, so this is kind of a ministerial step, unless we don't want to honor our agreement, which I think we do. So,
Well, Mayor, I don't think the PID details are in the DA, but the fact that you would be amicable to creating a PID.
yes,
We'll
yes,
get the
and we
PID
did go
details
through
between
it all.
now and then.
It's just.
Yeah.
So we have some numbers and general stuff, but we don't
We
have the true
numbers, yeah.
PID document yet. Just to be clear.
So
you need to close.
This is to accept the PID petition.
Yes, just the petition set, the PID petition to set the date
For
for hearing
August
creation.
7th.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just to create the hearing.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to accept the resolution accepting the PID petition for Platinum Ranch and setting the PID creation hearing for August 7th, 2025.
Okay, put David the first.
I'll second.
Alan with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Number 10, discuss, consider, act upon a resolution accepting the PID petition for Taylor Ranch and setting the hearing for August 7th.
Same thing, same
They're
thing.
kind of the, yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay. I'll make the motion. You want to do it? I'll do it.
Okay, I've got a first with Wade.
Yeah,
Did you
Second
say I
with
like your
Alan.
motion?
yeah, I keep on stealing it from Al.
Okay, second with Alan, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no opposed? Any opposed?
Mayor, you
Okay,
never
please.
closed the open.
I did before Jessica, and then I had her speak, and then we went to the next agenda item. Yeah, I did. Did I not?
You did. You
Okay.
opened the public hearing at
Yes.
7:07 and closed it at 7:07.
Yes, yes. Okay, and so we are on
Well,
number 12. So this is discussion, look, we're back to the sign ordinance, and we're gonna need to make some decisions soon. I don't wanna spend a whole lot of time on this tonight, because I'd rather you guys really sit down, look at the ordinance, and start thinking about how we can help businesses. This keeps coming back. Can we do this? Can we do that? We want the flag signs, feather signs. And we said, well, for a little while, because we hadn't given them an answer and had not addressed this, that we were gonna stop, enforcing it. I can't do that anymore. We can't do that anymore because we have code enforcement now. But businesses are struggling, so we have to address, how are they gonna be able to advertise? They're gonna do it 4 times a year, none at all.
So I remember when this came
Monument
out,
sign.
and I remember why they said they didn't want this is because, the baby store was in. And I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't mind if people put their business on these, the business name, just not
Yeah.
food or vape
Right.
or barbecue, just put your name on it and there you go. The only problem I would have is when we grow up, our job. If any of y'all been to Washington, you go up to Puyallup on Meridian, it is nothing but those all the way
Everywhere.
down for a
We
5-mile
don't wanna see
stretch.
that.
US Bank has it,
Too many,
Too many.
you don't notice.
So right now, I don't mind if they do it, cause they do, the little, catering place over there, like, they got the tinted windows still, no one knows what it is. At least put their business name, not what they sell on there, so then that way.
Limit the size to no more than a medium.
Yeah.
I mean, a 14-foot flag.
Well, but isn't the current ordinance that we don't allow feather signs?
We don't.
So here's
We
the
don't
thing.
allow anything,
Here's the
actually.
thing, this argument that, well, we're struggling, if you're struggling, a feather sign's not gonna make the difference between whether you make it or not. The things
For
are
right
hideous.
now, when
It's,
you
they're
drive,
trying to
when
do
you drive
promotions,
down,
like, so-and-so, we're doing this for these 2 weeks to get people like interested, business, back to school stuff, maybe Shipping and More wants to do those boxes
The
or
only people that are
things
gonna
like
see a
that.
feather sign are people driving on 289, and if they just happen to be suddenly needing something from that store, you think that feather sign's gonna divert them in? Their
I got
social
6 new
media-
enrollees in 2 days from my feather flag.
Well, the
So,
feather flag is a violation of city ordinance, so it shouldn't be here.
So we have to
I mean,
figure out,
either we got
like,
the
are
rule
we
or we
gonna do
don't.
anything or we not? And that's for you guys to decide.
I hear what you're saying, but the other time is when you're driving, say, going south on 289, if you don't know Northside Pie's over there where the liquor store's there, you're gonna keep on driving past it, oops, there it goes.
Well, there's a sign out front that says North Side High.
On the building, yes, but there's also some trees that are out there that you can't see with that building unless you come literally right parallel
Okay,
with
well,
it.
I
Personally, I don't
Now,
know
if it was
I
to say
want
Northside Pie on there and let them do that, and then the liquor store say Gunter, whatever, not
They're not.
liquor, then.
All right, but what do we do when we've got 20 stores down there? And
Then
there's
we
a flag
create,
all the
I think
way
that's
down?
gonna be a
then that's when we
problem.
create a new
So the point
ordinance
is,
to
you
take it
can
away.
See the end result, and
Yeah,
it's
right.
okay when it's
You have to
one,
assume
when it's 50,
all these
it's a
businesses
problem.
will be doing it, and I think in the future it's gonna be a problem.
Yes, in the
But-
future, but for right
But
now,
you
we
can't
don't
say
have
you-
50 businesses on 289, so.
Councilman, you can't say a new ordinance, because the ordinance right now says feather flags aren't permitted, so either tell us that then the ordinance says it is,
Right.
because
Or
we can't keep on going, turning a blind eye and not
we can't,
enforcing
we
it.
have to.
No, no,
Besides the fact that they continuously put them out right away, as
Amend
opposed
it,
to back.
and we can amend it and say, okay, it's okay, small, medium maybe, and then when we get too large and have 50 businesses down 289, then we amend it again saying no more.
Or I would suggest to you, in many
Yes,
cities, that you have it for 14 days, 3 times a year.
Well, then they're, it's
There you go.
grandfathered in thing.
And then they can come in, similar to our grand opening or
Now
special
enrolling.
events type permit.
Yeah.
It's back to.
It's things like that, now enrolling, grand opening, it's,
Temporary.
Christmas
Vacation
boxes
Bible
for you to
school.
ship your stuff, it's things
Well,
like that. If
tell
they
you
wanna
what,
do it
I'm okay with
periodically,
those signs if they're helping people, when they're already going to look for it, the signs are gonna help them figure out where they're supposed to be going. Or they're gonna remind them they need to do something because it's going on right now, but just permanently out there forever.
Yeah, no, okay, then not forever
On
then.
a temporary basis.
Because then if you're right, if they
2
do
weeks
it
a
out
year
there, it'll get weather
to-
and just start.
Well,
Yeah.
some,
We
many
got
ordinances
one
have
business,
twice a
one
year
sign.
for
well, that's
14
what I'm
days.
saying, one business,
One sign, 1 day a week.
Here's where they come in handy though. So College Hill, they'll have some baseball tournaments and stuff, and there'll be a group of
That's what I'm
kids.
talking about,
Or-
your people are going there,
And they're like,
they need to know.
holy
they got
crap,
there
where are we
because
gonna
they've been
eat?
there before, right?
And I truly think it probably has directed some foot traffic that way.
Well, I gotta tell you, I go to places that don't have those, and I manage to find my way to where I'm going to and find places to eat, so I just don't buy that. I mean,
That's because Sonia's driving it.
Well, you don't have 3 kids in the back of the car screaming and yelling at you.
Also, we're getting pressure and questions about banner signs, which banners are allowed for a certain amount of time on a temporary basis as well, but they have to be attached to the front, side, or rear of a wall, which are the 2 examples on the lower right. You can't technically attach it to a fence if you have it, and you can't do freestanding ones like the one on the lower left, which is in the visibility triangle.
Right.
And probably in the right of way. So that's an additional quantity you run in with these temporary type signs, either banners or feather flags, is the placement of them, because we have issues every time that we've been letting them do them, and they end up being in the right of way on the back of the curb, and we say, we're not gonna enforce not having a flag at all, but you gotta move it back behind the sidewalk and be on the lot.
So we just need to rewrite the whole thing, where they can put them, how long they can put them.
Well, we have where you can put signs in general right now, so these would just fall into the same category. It's just whether or not you want to restrict the temporary nature of these so they don't become permanent. And like we said, you can do it 2, 3, 4 times a year, 14 days in a row, 4 times a year. You gotta come in and show us where to put them and get a permit every time.
And they gotta be in working condition, because I've seen them that are like kind of.
Yeah, the catering place, we've been talking to them, like, you're gonna do the feather flag, it has to be in good condition.
Don't put it.
But then also not what they do, their business name only. Like, nothing against it, like the bank can't say cash a check here. No, it's the bank.
Which will eliminate half of them probably, because most of them do have this special thing, like the Sugarmore want to do one for, free boxes for a month or so.
Fried bologna sandwiches.
Yeah. Dude, I'm down with that.
Like, I want the business name, that's it, that would be the thing I would suggest to put into the.
But then the one is that if you do allow feather flags at the time, and then it has to be the business.
Just the business name,
which
not what they do.
So let me ask you, so Eric, right now there's not a monument sign out in front of where Shipping and More and Delos and all those are, okay? So I guess this may be a better question for Courtney. Is there any way to, when somebody comes in and builds a strip center, to force them to put up a monument sign as well that has the spots? There's 5 different locations, or where you can put the spots so that somebody, because you can't see as you're driving until you're kind of there and you pass it. And I mean, businesses right now are struggling, so they're all asking for help.
Come on, y'all, Gunter's not that big.
I know, and
If
that's
you
the
can't
problem.
find Northside Pie, you really are struggling.
Well, I think people, what I've been told is Gunter people don't support Gunter businesses.
Well,
We're trying to help change that.
So it's gonna
I
have
mean,
the
it
people that
may,
are
if
driving
you tell
through our
people what they've got in there.
that don't know where Northside Pie is, or the new hometown market, or not hometown market.
I'm trying to get some more
home team.
down here.
What's the home team? Home team.
It has a lot more.
You know what that is? You know where it is? Because
You
there's
don't
no
see
sign
it
out in
from
front
the
of
street when you
their
drive by.
building. So you don't know where it is.
Because they can get on Facebook and advertise.
They do.
They
But
do.
you don't know where they're at.
They do.
And you would know if they had a flag that said their name.
I don't even know what they sell.
Gunner stuff, they sell boutique stuff, they sell lots.
They've got
So anyway,
candles.
back to what I want y'all to do is really sit down. Please go look at this ordinance, think outside of the box. Let's come back and figure out how we can help businesses better.
Can
We
Ellen
have
and
to
I
at
work
least
on
have
this
a,
with Eric?
Well, I like the MDD.
yes, I could put 2 of you on it with Eric, absolutely. And then the others, you two, still look through it and make sure and like bring back, some suggestions, but if the 2 of you wanna be on this with Eric and y'all wanna come back to us with some ideas, then it's a great idea.
I mean,
We've gotta address it. I don't know what to do to help these people.
There's a 4-foot tall brick or stone monument pedestal out front with a brass sign with their name etched in it, and that's it.
You know where the antique store is?
The one across the street, across from the base.
Yeah, but you know where that is? Yeah, that's good. How'd you know? They have a big boy one out there.
I saw the big boy, yeah.
So we gotta have
They have
a
a sign.
feather signs.
They had a sign out there, and you're like, wait, what's that?
No, I'm not looking
Right.
for antiques. If I was looking for antiques, I'd find one.
Do you know where it is? Temporary signs.
Yes.
But it doesn't do, I've never gone in there and thought,
Bring it
just
on.
because I know where it is doesn't make me go buy something.
Ellen and I will
You have
fix
to
it.
get my business in the first place. I don't buy antiques.
Okay, so this was just discussion. I want y'all to really start thinking about it. See, I mean,
That was a
what can
long
we do to help
discussion.
businesses?
Let's get
So
some
we're
things
gonna put
on
Alan and Dave on this with Eric, and
I have an
Revisit
irrational
later.
hatred for feather signs, and I just never gonna.
look, I do too. I do too. And I think
And
that
I'll
you
go get your
have to,
feather sack and put it in your front yard.
you have to assume if you offer it to one, you allow
I
it,
got you.
everybody will do it.
I guess there, I'd also like to revisit, do we go ahead and let
Okay.
the existing feather flags kind of keep on? Which I tell a code guy to stay off of them now?
Look, we've got code enforcement now. I
Tagamart
don't,
doesn't have a feather sign, and I find it to get gas.
They have a freestanding pole sign too.
Andreas doesn't have a feather sign, I managed to get over there to get pizza.
it's a pizza. I know. So
We're not having an
I think-
executive session.
No, so I do not have anything to update you guys
Run
with.
away.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
There you go.
And I will update you, cause I know you have to go. I'll let you know what was talking, what we
Okay,
talked
now
about.
you can go off
Huh?
topic.
That's the last item?
That's it.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
not in
because
executive session.
executive session, I don't have any updates. So, but I will next time. And then I'll update you all over time. Okay, so let's adjourn this at 7:31. Okay.